All right, I think everyone's coming on in now. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So glad you guys could join us this afternoon for our info session. And so we are recording today, so we'll be able to share this out with anybody who wants to view it and follow up, or anyone who's not able to make the time today. So we are focusing on cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting today. And I think you guys have met Patrick already, but I'm going to introduce Patrick McLaughlin and go ahead and turn it over to him.
Thanks, Carol. Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick McLaughlin, and I am a member of the Rethinking Schools Task Force. And today we're going to talk about cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting, as well as really focusing on the kits that have gone out to the classrooms and what all the products are and how best to use them. So we'll get started here. We're going to be just talking just quickly on the guidelines that we're following that's kind of driving this work, some resources and expectations around cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting. We're going to talk a little bit about what the difference between those are. What's the difference between cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting? We're going to look at the cleaning schedule that we've created for the classroom. We're going to look at the kits, and then we're going to open it up to any questions that you have. So we'll get going here. So if you haven't looked at it yet, I highly recommend that you take a look at the 30-point guidelines that were created by the Marin Health and Human Services, along with the Marin County Office of Education, 30 points that we need to be following for classroom-based instruction. One of those points is number 5, which basically states that plans are implemented for intensified cleaning and disinfecting, including training all staff and having access to cleaning supplies and essential protective equipment. So that's the main goal of today, is to talk about that intensified cleaning and disinfecting and make sure that you feel comfortable with the products that you have and that you have access to all the products that you need. There are a couple other points in this 30-point guideline. One is revolved around playground equipment and cleaning that between use. You'll notice that it says clean. It doesn't say disinfect or sanitize. And we'll talk about what cleaning is, but really cleaning is just using soap and water and removing debris, dirt, and things like that, not actually using sanitizers or disinfectants for playground equipment. And then also the ability to use other spaces outside of classrooms, like gymnasiums, multi-purpose rooms, and making sure that we're cleaning in between those uses as well. I want to talk a little bit about the staff and teacher responsibilities. So basically during COVID, the expectation, and I'm sure that most of you have been doing this for many years with your students, is we need your support in making sure that surfaces are wiped down and cleaned in between custodial support. So we are going to be asking that folks are cleaning and sanitizing high-touch surfaces in the classroom during the day, with the idea that at the end of the day, custodial staff will come in and they'll do a deeper disinfection. So cleaning and sanitizing by teachers and staff, and disinfecting happening at the custodial level every day. Also, we need your assistance in making sure that the SaniQ bottles that we're providing for you with solution, when they're empty, that we keep them so that we can refill them. It is very difficult to find these bottles during COVID, and so we want to make sure that we're keeping them and reusing them. So please, please, please make sure that you're keeping the bottles that after use, and we'll come and we'll refill them or replace them with filled bottles. Also, the hope is that staff and teachers can make sure that they're communicating to us if you need any supplies. Our M&O team will be stopping by the classrooms to resupply. But if you run out of supplies in the interim, please, or it looks like you're about to run out of supplies, please reach out to your program managers and let them know so that we can make sure that we get those items to you so you have what you need. The last thing is really important that all staff take the Keenan IPM training for teachers and staff. It's a 20-minute video on Keenan. My understanding is that has been communicated out to you, that that's an expectation, but it is very important that everyone that use sanitizers or disinfectants takes that training. This is just a little information showing you what the training looks like on the Keenan site. It's also important to note that we do have a training on our website, Rethinking Schools Task Force, that talks about the difference between cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting. In addition, I do know that there is another video that's going to be put on our website very soon about proper use of PPE, how to take off masks, how to take off gloves, and that's coming shortly. So lots of resources there available. But again, this is the training that all staff that will be working with those sanitizers needs to take before doing so. So it's about 20 minutes long on Keenan. So briefly talking about the difference between cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting. Cleaning is ultimately the process of removing dirt, dust, and debris, sticky substances from a surface or from an item. What cleaning does is it does not kill bacteria, it does not kill viruses, it does not use a chemical to do that. It uses soap or detergent, which really just helps remove an item from a surface. So cleaning is a very, very, very important part of health and safety within the classroom. And that can just be soap and a mild, water and a mild soap or detergent. So I know that you are able to order hand washing soap or dishwashing soap. You can use just a couple of drops in some water, and that's what we would use for cleaning. And so very, very important that we're keeping things clean. We're not really able to sanitize properly without a clean surface. So if you see a surface that has dirt or debris on it, it's very important that you use that soap and water to remove that dirt before sanitizing. Or even just removing that dirt is very, very effective on decreasing that viral load on a surface. Now, sanitizing is a little bit different. Sanitizing is using a chemical in order to kill a bacteria or germ or virus. And so the sanitizers that we are providing to all of the classrooms are SaniQ sanitizer in a spray bottle here. So it's the orange spray bottle. We are going to make sure that we start to put sanitizer label on it just so you can distinguish between the sanitizer and disinfectant, but this is our sanitizer. In addition to this spray bottle, we just received them today, going to be providing some sanitizing wipes that can be used as well. These we're asking for you to use sparingly. They're a hard item to find and quite expensive, but for a quick sanitizing, you can use these. But generally speaking, we're going to ask that you use the sanitizer spray. One thing that's very important when you're using a sanitizer or a disinfectant, that you use the proper PPE or wearing the proper PPE. And the proper PPE, which comes in the kits, includes eyeglasses, so eyewear, as well as gloves. And we are providing gloves, reusable gloves, as well as disposable gloves. If you need more gloves, reusable or disposable, just let us know. We have lots in stock here. So eyewear, disposable gloves, and then the face covering. So we need to make sure that we're wearing that proper PPE when we are using the spray bottle or using the sanitizer wipes. We don't need the eyewear for the sanitizer wipes, but when we're putting it in a spray bottle or using the spray bottle, we're asking you to use the eyewear as well. The best way to use the spray bottle, there's actually two ways to use it. One is you can just spray this onto a surface and just leave it there. It'll dissipate in the air. We want to put enough chemical on the table so that that table stays wet for at least 60 seconds. Or another option is to take a spray bottle and take a paper towel, put it, spray into that paper towel, get it nice and wet, and then you can wipe down the surface with that wet paper towel. Basically what you're doing when you wet a paper towel is you're creating a sanitizing wipe. You're creating a wet towelette that you're using to wipe down a surface. So that's the sanitizing items that we're providing. Again, sanitizers are a chemical that is used to kill 99% of the viruses on a surface. And so with a good cleaning and then sanitizing, that is a very, very, very effective way to cut down on the viral load of COVID, as well as other types of flus and bacteria and things like that. Now, disinfecting is, we are providing some disinfectant as well. Disinfecting is just a stronger chemical. It's a higher concentration of chemical that is used to kill 99.999% of all the bacteria of viruses and bacteria. So it kills about a percentage more, but it takes a lot longer it needs to be on a surface for a lot longer. A sanitizer needs to be on this SaniQ needs to be on a surface for 60 seconds. This disinfectant needs to be on a surface for 10 minutes. And so again, disinfectant and sanitizer, disinfectant is a higher concentration of chemical. This is the disinfectant that we're providing for you. It's the exact same chemical. It's SaniQ, but it's just a higher concentration. And that makes it a disinfectant. We also are providing you disinfectant Clorox wipes that can be also used as a disinfectant. One thing that's really important to note, and we'll look at that in just a second when we look at our cleaning schedule, is that our recommendation is to limit the use of disinfectants. Good cleaning and using a sanitizer is a very effective way to deal with this virus. Disinfectants really should only be used when you're dealing with bodily fluids or a really highly touched surface. But we're really pushing that we use the sanitizer, which is a lower concentration of the chemical, instead of using the Clorox wipes or the SaniQ disinfectant concentration. So this is the cleaning schedule that we've provided to you all. And you'll notice that most of the things that we're encouraging you to do are cleaning and sanitizing. So we're asking you to help clean desktops, countertops, and toys. Again, cleaning is just a mild soap and water with using, wiping it off with a sponge or a cloth or a towel or a brush or something like that. So good cleaning and then sanitizing daily. We are encouraging, if there are that there's a targeted use of additional sanitizer throughout the day on surfaces and objects that are touched by multiple students. So if you have a surface that is being touched by multiple students, we would then encourage you to not only sanitize daily, but to sanitize those objects after use and before use of another student, if lots of students are using it. But outside of that, a good cleaning and good sanitizing at the end of the day, or maybe midday, is about all the sanitizing that we are recommending. You will notice that there is a disinfection here. that we are recommending on cleaning tables and in bathrooms. And the reason why we're doing that is in those areas where it's likely to have more bodily fluids, then we are going to recommend a higher level of chemical. Disinfection can happen within bathrooms and cleaning tables, but outside of that, a good cleaning and sanitizing is a very effective way to make sure that things are safe in the classroom. You'll also notice that the outside play areas does not require disinfection. Maybe targeted use of sanitizers is recommended, but really just good cleaning is a very effective way for outside play areas. So this is the PPE kit that we have provided, and I'm going to go through each of these items quickly, and then I will open it up to any questions that you might have about the products. So I'm going to close out the PowerPoint so that you have a better view of the items here. So these are the items here on the table. I'll bring them a little bit closer as we go through them. So first thing, just talking about the personal protective equipment. So again, we have the eyewear here. There should have been 3 that were in the kit that were provided to you. So one for you and the staff in the classroom. If you need more of these, we have a ton more of them. We're happy to get them to you. There are face coverings that are provided as well. These are reusable. These are disposable. These are for adults. We also do have student face coverings. We just received a whole bunch more of the disposable face coverings for students. So we're going to work on getting these out to you. But there are also reusable face coverings for students as well, or for not just students. These are for children, for little ones. Some students are going to be big enough that they'll need the regular size as well. One thing to note about these items is that the intention behind them is not to provide a student with a new face covering every day. The intention is that if someone was to forget it, or to lose it, or to soil it, I'm sure you're going to learn some or hear some real fun stories of what happened to somebody's face covering. But if they need one during the day, they're there as supplemental to provide those students and staff if something was to happen to them. We do have, as I showed, gloves of all types of sizes. These gloves are really intended to be used when you're sanitizing and disinfecting. So we have reusable gloves as well as disposable gloves that are in the kits. And we, again, have all kinds of different sizes if you need more. We do have hand sanitizer as well that are in the kits. Important to note that our preference is that students and staff just wash their hands 20 seconds. That's the best way to go. But if that's not an option, then hand sanitizer is available. It's also important to note that we have a lot more of this. If you need more hand sanitizer, let us know. We'll get it to you. And so then kind of moving to the cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting products. We do have a bucket here that's we've provided everyone. We do have a few more if you need more. But really this is for if you don't have a sink or an easy way to have a cleaning solution, soap and water at the ready. There's some towels here as well for wiping down tables and chairs and such. Maybe outside play equipment as well. This could be used for a quick clean of those products. So that's what this is for us, is really these items for cleaning. For sanitizing, again, we have the sanitizing spray bottle. And again, we're calling it a sanitizer because it has a lower concentration of the chemical. We also just received a whole bunch of these sanitizing wipes that we'll be providing with you. So these are your items for sanitizing surfaces. And then when needed, we have disinfectant products that are available as well. So you should have received a disinfectant wipes, Clorox wipes, as well as a disinfectant spray. So again, this is a higher concentration of the chemical, and we're using this sparingly when we have a lot of bodily fluid or something that we need to really make sure if we have concerns about a high viral load on a surface to use this. Again, you need to get the surface wet enough so that it would stay wet for 10 minutes with this item for it to be effective. For the sanitizer, it just needs to be wet for 60 seconds. Paper towels available to, again, make those basically homemade towelettes. So you grab the paper towel, you would spray it with the spray bottle, and then you'd wipe down the surface. This is not to dry a surface, this is to wet a surface. So we're getting the paper towel wet, we're making a towelette, and then we can use that to wipe down surfaces. It's a real good thing to use for touch screens and computers and things like that, better than just spraying a computer. It's nice to get that, create our own towelette and then just use that for wiping down. In addition to that, there is some face shields that are in the packet as well. We also just did get humanity shields, and so those are going to be going out to all the classrooms. I believe Janelle and I are going to do some tours tomorrow, and we're going to start getting those out to everybody as well. So yeah, that's kind of my spiel. So I know we have about 8 minutes left here, and I want to make sure I answer any questions that you might have. So we can shout them out, we can put them in the chat, whatever works best for folks.
I'll start my. Hi.
Hi.
So we're in the classroom right now. We have the stuff. We just want a clarification on. So when we're using the SaniQ, I understand it needs to be on for a minute. Are we putting it on the paper towel first? Or are we just spraying the surface, waiting a minute, and then wiping? Or
good question. You can do either. You can just spray the surface and walk away.
Okay.
Or another option is to spray that chemical or that solution into a paper towel and then wipe down the surface with a paper towel, getting it wet. But the purpose of the paper towel is not to dry the surface. It's really, you're basically creating a towelette. Mm-hmm. This is just this is a towelette in a solution that's used, that you wipe it down. You're just using the paper towel, getting it wet, and wiping the surface so that the surface is wet, and then walking away. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And then even with the SaniQ, we're using the goggles when we're spraying.
Whenever you're using the spray, I recommend that you wear the goggles.
Okay.
Just because it's going into the air, and just right. Something was just spray back. If you're using a towelette, you still want to wear gloves, but you do not need to use the goggles.
Okay. Okay.
Good questions. Yeah. Other questions?
I have one.
Yes, please.
In the past, if a student has had an accident in the classroom, like a bathroom accident, I've called in the janitorial staff to deal with it. And now, should I be using our supplies? What should be the protocol?
So I would say the custodial support from the school sites should still remain the same as it always has. So how are we, that's still part of our facilities agreement that we have with our districts, and that they're providing some of those custodial supports for us. So we have a higher level of cleaning supplies in our room right now, but that doesn't mean that we're expecting you to do everything, right? So we still are gonna tap into our custodial teams when it's appropriate.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing to note as well is that, as Janelle kind of touched on as well, is that the understanding is that the custodial team is going to be coming in at the end of the day, and they're going to do a disinfection of that space. So really, these are items to help us clean and sanitize during the day when we're with kiddos, and then the custodial staff will come in at night and do the deeper disinfection, in addition to the work that we've done during the day to stay safe. Other questions?
The towel that's we're supposed to clean with, doesn't that leave us up? I don't know. The towel seems like it's not very sanitary. So wouldn't we just clean with a paper towel for the cleaning? Because who's going to clean the towel once we've removed all the viruses and bacteria from the surface? Now we have a dirty towel.
So let me see if I can answer that, Stephanie. And Patrick, you can chime in here too. So some of our classrooms do have washing machines. So they may be able to wash the towels right there in the classrooms. Some of our staff may be comfortable in taking it home to wash, and others are not. And that's why we're giving everybody options, so that if you're not somebody who has a washing machine and you're not comfortable putting it in a bag to take home to wash, then absolutely use the paper towel.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd say that a sponge is also something that can be used, and just like in any other circumstance, there's a lifespan of a sponge, and so at some point you'll want to get a new sponge, but you can kind of wring out that sponge, but once it becomes time to get a new sponge, you have to do that as well.
I have a question about the play equipment. You said you just need to do soap and water on that. Is there like a protocol before and after that we should like make sure the kids wash their hands and sanitize or spray?
Yeah.
Or,
Great question. I'd say that washing hands is something that we should be really, really encouraging. And so before students go out to play, when they come back to play, we should be washing hands. So this is in addition to that. I think that the big thing to note is that we don't have to do a real thorough disinfection of that outside play equipment. Wiping it down, maybe if there's lots of kiddos on it, maybe doing a SaniQ spray at the end. But we don't need to do a thorough disinfection of play equipment after every single use. It's just more of cleaning, maybe sanitizing, but that hand hygiene is super important.
okay.
Other questions?
Patrick, earlier on the call, the one earlier you talked about the labeling on the different bottles and the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk about how those solutions are made. I know that's something that we've purchased to put in some of our locations so that we can actually make the solutions, and then the labeling as well.
Sure. So again, we have two different bottles here. One of them, and it has been saying disinfectant, but we're going to put some more stickers to really help people distinguish between the two. I know it can be confusing, but the orange bottle is the sanitizer. The clear bottle is a disinfectant. We'll make sure that we get a disinfectant on as well. We have basically purchased a whole bunch of dispensers that are connected, that are at all of our school sites. And for those sites that are not on our school site, then we'll be supplying these items out to you. But again, it's just it's a different level of disinfectant. This has the same chemical in it. It's just a sanitizer is at a lower concentration than the disinfectant is. Does that answer the question, Janelle, or?
I think so.
I have one more question about outside tables that are used for like snacks or eating.
Yeah.
What is that?
Are they in the sun?
They have an overhang.
So I'd say if kids are eating on the table, it might be a clean and then a spray with the SaniQ and then just walk away after, between uses. But I don't think you need to use a disinfectant for that. But just cleaning it off, soap and water, and then a spray and walk away is what I would recommend.
Okay.
And I would recommend the same for any eating table inside as well.
Okay.
Okay, so we've reached 3:30. Any last questions before we wrap up? Okay, so don't hesitate to outreach if you have questions. Send us an email, call. We're happy to answer any questions that you guys have in anything that comes up going forward. So thanks so much for participating today.
Thank you, Patrick. It's very helpful.
You're welcome, Annie. If you need anything, let us know. We're here for you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.